Good morning, everybody, to all the participants of the marathon for the reading of Vedic scriptures for the benefit of the world. This this reading is the highest form of charity. Everybody needs to gain knowledge of the absolute truth of God, and the knowledge that you can engage in a mutual relationship with God. This is the best activity for a person. And this is a science. It has a special taste to it because it helps us understand our spiritual nature. Connect us with the source of happiness, with God. This is written by God in this special form by Vyasa, the sage. He wrote the Vedas. It was God himself that wrote the Vedas. He came himself to this world to help people in the world, in the age of Kali, to understand this science, because everyone has weak memory, weak intelligence. People are very mean, evil, and lazy. And knowing this, he wrote the Vedic knowledge that it's very accessible to us. So we're doing this marathon so that we can bring benefit everyone. We have very short lives, and we need to have enough time to achieve what is available to us. So we're going to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Today we're reading Bhagavad-gita, the wonderful Bhagavad-gita, with commentaries that has been commented on by Srila Prabhupada. And he was he was given the authority to do this by God himself. And it tells us how we can enter into a relationship with God. So we're getting a full picture of the Bhagavad Gita, but we're also, hopefully you can have enough time to read the commentary by Srila Prabhupada. And we're hoping that on the next marathon we will be able to start diving into that as well. How we'll go over this and do everything, we'll talk about this later. We've already read half the Bhagavad Gita today. It's a nice pace we're doing today. So we potentially will finish in this next 2 hours. We will have 2 hours, 3 hours later. We'll absolutely engage it in something. So let's dive in. I'd like to announce a new form of association we can have it. If you have any realizations about the reading, how it's affected you, any realizations you have, record a small little video, a maximum of 3 minutes long, and send it to our administrative center. About once a day we're going to collect these, and I will give a I'll comment on your realizations about the importance of reading these books. If you don't know how to record it, you can write it, a short realization. Please upload it, and we'll take a look at it and we'll give feedback. So we're starting. We're going to read some mantras to get us into it.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Шримад Бхагавад-гита, 10 глава.
Srimad Bhagavad-gita, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages, and the Manus, progenitors of man, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Arjuna said, You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyas, confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. I am the Supersoul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Of the Adityas I am Vishnu, of lights I am the radiant sun, and of the Maruts I am Marichi, and among the stars I am the moon. Of the Vedas I am the Samveda, of the demigods I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses I am the mind, and of living beings I am the living force, consciousness. Of all the Rudras I am Lord Shiva, of the Yakshas and Rakshasas I am the Lord of wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus I am fire, Agni, and of mountains I am Meru. Of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief Brihaspati. Of generals I am Kartikeya. Of bodies of water I am the ocean. Of the great sages I am Brigu. Of vibrations I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices I am the chanting of the holy names, Japa. Of immovable things I am the Himalayas. Of all trees I am the banyan tree, and of the sages among the demigods I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas I am Chitraratha, and among perfected beings I am the sage Kapila. Of horses know me to be Uchaishrava, produced during the churning of the ocean of nectar. Of lordly elephants I am Airavata, and among men I am the monarch. Of weapons I am the thunderbolt, among cows I am the Surabhi. Of causes for procreation I am Kandarpa, the god of love. Of serpents I am Vasuki. Of the many-hooded Nagas I am Ananta, and among aquatics I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors I am Aryama, and among the dispensers of law I am Yama, the lord of death. Among the Daitya's demons I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers I am Time. Among beasts I am the lion, and among birds I am Garuda. Of purifiers I am the wind. Of wielders of weapons I am Rama. Of fishes I am the shark. And of flowing rivers I am the Ganges. Of all creations I am the beginning and end, and also the middle. O Arjuna, of all sciences I am the spiritual science of the self, and among logicians I am the conclusive truth. Of letters I am the letter A, and among compound words I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time, and of creators I am Brahma. I am all-devouring death, and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Of the hymns in the Samveda I am the Brihat Sam, and of poetry I am the Gayatri. Of months I am Margashirsha, November, December, and of seasons I am the flower-bearing spring. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Of the descendants of Vrishni I am Vasudev, and of the Pandavas I am Arjuna. Of the sages I am Vyasa, and among great thinkers I am Ushana. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness I am punishment, and of those who seek victory I am morality. Of secret things I am silence, and of the wise I am wisdom. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being, or moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. O mighty conqueror of the enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself I pervade and support this entire universe. Thus in chapter 10 of the Bhagavad-gita, Opulence of the Absolute, chapter 11, the Universal Form. Arjuna said, "By my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects in this body of mine, this universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see, and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here, completely, in one place. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence." Sanjay said, "O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. At that time Arjuna could see the universal form of the Lord, the unlimited expansion of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva, and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence spreading on all sides like blazing fire, or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and the planets, and space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all planetary systems are perturbed. All the host of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings, crying, "All peace," are praying you by singing the Vedic hymns. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva and Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadyas, the Vishvadevs, and the two Ashvis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshasas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. All of the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers, are also rushing into your fearful mouths. And some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. As the many waves of the river flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible, scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce a form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Svayasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Drona, Bhisma, Jayadartha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle." Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, "O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. Arjuna said, "O master of the senses, the world becomes joyous upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. O Great One, greater than even Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O Limitless One, God of gods, refuge of the universe. You are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the unlimited, ultimate sanctuary of the manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are the master. No one is equal to you, nor can be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, or a friend tolerates the impertinence of a friend, or a wife tolerates the familiarity of her partner, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done to you. After seeing this universal form which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. The universal form, O thousand-eyed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head, and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, happily I have shown you by my internal potency the supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penance, two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking this opportunity to see this form which is so dear. The form which you are now seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service, the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally exposed to everyone, such personal welfare of all, at last achieve me. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. You will come to the perfect stage. If, however, you are... Thus end Chapter 12, entitled Devotional Service. Chapter 13. Nature, the Enjoyer, and Consciousness. Arjuna said, O my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the Enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. O sign of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity, and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are. That knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in the Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to the cause and effect. The five great elements, false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses in the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, and the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions, all these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions. Humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of evil, of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, the constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge. He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter, and he is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge, and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Thus the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly, and thus attain to my nature. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. The living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. Yet, in this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the Supersoul. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Some perceive the Supersoul within themselves through meditation, others through cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the same person upon hearing about him from others, because to hear those situated in that body. O son of Bharat, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal. Thus end Chapter 13, Nature, the Enjoyer, and Consciousness. Chapter 14, the Nature, three modes of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to the supreme perfection. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, or disturbed in the mode of ignorance O son of Kuru. Darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of great sages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. The result of pious action is pure, and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on earthly planets, and those in abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, he knows that the Supreme Lord, when one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their diseases, and can enjoy nectars. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrenders to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began, and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, but one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. His endeavors will know perfection. Thus in chapter, they say it is produced of sex desire, cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and will increase in the future. More and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. There are 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization, and thus gradually attains the. Thus in chapter 16, the Bhagavad-gita, entitled The Divine and the Demoniac. Chapter 17, The Divisions of Faith. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of Scripture, but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of 3 kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this. O son of Bharat, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods, those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish, and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the supersoul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Now hear of the distinctions between them. Food dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Food that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of Scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. But the sacrifice performed of some material benefit for the sake of pride, O chief of the bards, you should know to be in the mode of passion. Any sacrifice performed without regard for the directions of the Scriptures, without distribution of prasadam, spiritual food, without chanting of Vedic hymns, and remunerations to the priests, and without faith, is considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and the mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind. This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by men not expecting material benefits but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme is called austerity and goodness. Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. Penance performed out of foolishness, with self-torture, or to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Charity given out of duty, without expectation of return, at a proper time and place, and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. But charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with a desire for fruitive results, or in a grudging mood, is said to be in the mode of passion. And charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention, respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. From the beginning of creation, the three Om, Tat, Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. Three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas, and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performance of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with the scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called Sat, as are all workers of sacrifice, penance, and
Пища, приготовленная более чем за 3 часа до еды, безвкусная,
Chapter 18. Conclusion of the Bhagavad-gita. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas, O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, giving up of activities that are based on material desires is what learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyas, and giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation, tyag. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. O best of the Bharattas, now hear my judgment about renunciation, O tiger among men. Renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Pritha. That is my final opinion. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation, O Arjuna. When one performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done, and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. The intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the supersoul. These are the 5 factors of action. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent, and can see things, and cannot see things as they are. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower of the 3 factors that motivate action, the senses, and the work, and the doer are the 3 constituents of action. According to the 3 different modes of material nature, there are 3 kinds of knowledge, action, and performer of action. Now hear of them from me. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in the mode of passion. That knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all-in-all, without knowledge of the truth, which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. That action which is regulated, and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results, is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires, and enacted from his sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. That action performed in illusion is disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence is distress caused to others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert, is insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. O winner of wealth, now please listen as I tell you in detail different kinds of understanding and determination, according to the three modes of material nature. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. But that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, limitation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in the mode of darkness. According to one's nature, are never affected by sinful reactions. Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. One who is self-controlled, unattached, and who disregards all material enjoyments can obtain by practice of renunciation the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance, who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and accepts the material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state he attains pure devotional service unto me. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. In all activities just depend on me, and work always under my protection. In such devotional service be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. If you do not act according to my direction, and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature you will have to be engaged in warfare. Under illusion you are now declining to act according to my direction. But compelled by the work, by the mercy of Vyas, I have heard this most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure, being thrilled at every moment. O king, as I remember this wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Wherever there is a Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Thus end chapter 18, the conclusion of the Bhagavad-gita, and thus end the Bhagavad-gita. Translations and reports by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Congratulations to the first victory for everyone. We finished. We have a little bit of time right now. And maybe right now we'll try to do a wrap up. And so, Bhagavad-gita, the Song of God, it's exactly like a song. It's a song sung by God. It is the cream of all Vedic sciences. It is the most concentrated. We may not be able to hear it all, but we can try to practice it, just like we heard today. How to adapt this in your lives. Srila Prabhupada is our example. He is the torch of light to get through this whole material fog. Just like Arjuna, we can see how everything is manifesting itself right now. In the chapter 4:34, one should find a spiritual teacher, ask questions, inquire submissively, and that kind of person can open us knowledge with the torchlight of knowledge. And they will help us see through the darkness of ignorance. We need to find this kind of personality. And Srila Prabhupada is this type of personality. And he gives us this kind of knowledge. How can he know? He's full of godly qualities. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to translate and do such translations. And God gave him this duty to give us this very valuable transcendental knowledge, to explain the nature of God, and how to make a relationship with God. For us right now, Srila Prabhupada is even more valuable. There's a lot of versions of Bhagavad-gita. They're already translated by different people. All the different translators are trying to get rid of Krishna. And this loses the value. But Prabhupada, living in Vrindavan for 12 years, he got ready for leaving to the West. He tried to understand the mentality of the West. What's their spirit? How are they actually looking for God? And if they find it, then how can they practically start to put it into place in their lives? The first time Srila Prabhupada came in 1965, he saw how everyone is mindless. They're saying his family and friends and godbrothers said, "Don't go there. It's completely demoniac. Nothing is there. They're all drinking and taking drugs and eating meat. They're all doing intermarital sex outside of marriage and all sorts of crazy stuff. They won't accept you." But Prabhupada knew that Krishna was in his heart and in the heart of everyone. And it's possible to do that for anyone, to bring this knowledge to anyone. And he delivered it to them people. from India to America. Prabhupada got ready for his travels. He wrote a very incredible poem. I'm going to read it to you. One second, I'm going to find it. We're going to see what kind of uh, help Srila Prabhupada gave us. One second, I'm going to open it up on my phone. He really was merciful to us, but I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible, because you are most expert mystic. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? O Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy that I will be able to convince them about your message. All living entities have become under control of the illusory energy of your will, and therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. The words of the Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation, and if a sober person repeatedly receives it with submissive oral reception, then he will be able to understand your message. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17-21, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is practically destroyed, and loving service unto the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. At that time, loving service is established in the heart, and the modes of passion, rajas, and ignorance, tamas, and lust and desire, kama, disappear from the heart. When the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes happy, thus established in the mode of goodness, The man rejuvenated by loving service to the Lord gains liberation from material association, mukti, and comes to know significantly of the personality of God. Comes to know scientifically of the personality of Godhead. Thus the knots of the heart and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions, karma, is terminated when one sees the self as master. He will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and most fallen. Therefore, I am seeking your benediction, so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or a failure, as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message, so if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, and will certainly feel engladdened, and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So, if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance, O Lord, make me dance as you like. It gives everyone a chance to solidify their faith. And they can pick it up as something very valuable. And so I wish everyone success. It was a very good start we had today. We read well. Good intention setting this morning. Very nice class from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Given by her Grace Mother Malati. She is one of the first disciples of Srila Prabhupada. She was sent to London as not a big group where they started to preach. It was the beginning of the preaching in the West. People were so mixed up in their lives that they didn't know what they were doing. They spent a long time looking for where they could build a temple and start to do these things. Krishna was apparently very was shown to be very merciful, and he connected them with a very famous group, the Beatles, with George Harrison, and he donated some very nice things, very good thing, a very beneficial thing. George Harrison himself also got many instances where he's talked with Srila Prabhupada. George Harrison wanted to leave, but Srila Prabhupada told him that you're already spiritual. Your name is Harrison, son of Hari, and you've already done so much. Everything you've done, and you've helped us so much, and it's with this musical preaching, and this knowledge goes to every tradition, just as is written in Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, everyone. And so we're going to have another meeting soon. We're waiting for your responses, for your feedback. You can send them us. And that's how we will do our meeting. Thank Thank you. Until the next meeting. Thank you so much.